This week in Retrospect, let's travel back to 1992, where a foreign exchange program facilitates cultural exchange with the Japanese.
The whole idea of the exchange was education. For the Japanese students, it was learning English and the Canadian culture. For the host families, it was about their guests' homeland, and both sides were impressed with what they found out. 20 Japanese students with 2 chaperones came over in an exchange arranged by the Japanese organization Labo and the District 35 4-H Club. The students were in the area for 4 weeks and got a taste of prairie life. They got to go horseback riding, helped out on the farm, some went on a wagon train. As well, the whole crew took a trip to Edmonton. Murray and Doreen Coolidge were the 4-H coordinators for the trip. Doreen Coolidge says that a reciprocal trip over to Japan is being planned.
So we'll get organized in the fall and put it open to anybody that wants to go, and then give them the opportunity to raise some money and maybe learn a little bit of Japanese.
The Japanese students learn English starting in junior high. Some involved in the exchange had only taken 1 year before coming here. Amiko Ono studied it in university and now is a staff coordinator with Labo International Exchange. This was her first time in Canada, and she says she enjoyed it a lot and hopes the 4-H families can eventually come overseas.
So I'm really hoping this will be a great opportunity for Japanese kids and also for the Canadian youth to have a good relationship. And I hope someday in the near future for the Canadian youth to come and have a homestay with us.
Shino Haruto stayed on the Coolidge's farm, and when she goes home, she'll have nice things to say about Canada. What are you going to tell all your friends back home about Canada?
Kind people, Canada's beautiful places.
This was the first exchange in 16 years with Japan and Saskatchewan, and organizers say they hope the future will hold more. As for this exchange, the students have headed to Saskatoon, where they will catch a plane and head home to Tokyo. Jeannie Haining, NewsHour.
Moving forward to 1997, we take a look at a controversy that troubles the people of Lloydminster.
City Council is faced with one of the most heated controversial issues with local residents in a long time. Harry and Alva Creech have operated a funeral home along Highway 16 in the border city for over 4 years and are currently building one in Vermilion as well. After years of business, they say their clientele would be better served in a quieter location without a liquor store and a pool hall next door. They chose this site at 51st Street and 55th Avenue because there was already a church there, but they also want to add a crematorium.
There is not one in Lloydminster right now, so what we're hoping to do is provide an economical way of doing it. There's no transportation cost to Edmonton or Saskatoon, which is the closest crematoriums, and that can add hundreds of dollars to funeral costs.
More and more people are choosing cremation. The Creeches say 40 to 50% of their customers are exploring that option. Many local residents say they're not against the idea of a crematorium in Lloydminster, but they just don't want it here in their neighborhood.
Create a severe parking problem. We believe that property values could go down if a funeral home was in that area.
There are also concerns that it would hurt Martin Brown School located nearby.
Working on the enrollment problem we're faced with so that we can get a grade 5 and 6 in that school. And a crematorium, no matter how clean they say it is, it's still going to have that phobia. It's going to be another factor that deters people from moving into that area.
Maybe similar to many people in our area, I tend to have a little bit of what they call phobia about the crematorium. If I was living right next door to it and I would have any indication of what was coming out of that building, that would bother me.
But the Creeches say the unit is computerized and does not allow anything but heat emissions to escape.
There's no noise, no smoke, and no odor. In our minds, crematoriums would have black billowing smoke, and that's not today, and we have to educate people to understand that. In Edmonton, Park Memorial Funeral Service is a block away from the Royal Alexander Hospital. It also has a Wendy's right next door to it, as well as other restaurants. The hospital would not want something that was going to be a health hazard near it, but there's been no complaints.
Lloydminster City Council has tabled the motion for 30 days.
Yes, number one, I want to find out if there are any people out there for it. It was well put by one of the individuals that was speaking to the crematorium, and he said, you have to ask yourself the question, would you want it next door to you?
But one local merchant points out that the new facility would probably spruce up the area. The Creeches say they will look for another location if residents don't want them there. People in this neighborhood say they already have to deal with the canola plant and the Husky refinery and don't want to chance having to smell anything else when they step outside. Julie Matthews, NewsHour.
And in 2002, we take a look at a deal to develop an unused piece of property.
For a number of years, this piece of property has been unused and undeveloped. And for approximately the last 13 years, taxes have been unpaid and penalties have been accruing. Now the tax owing is larger than the assumed market value of the land. So this past Monday, City Council approved a proposed agreement with Hardy Developments Limited.
We've come to an agreement with the present property owners and the public school division who have an interest in the taxes in that property, and Hardy Developments in the city, and how we might develop that property and recover some of the costs that have been invested in that land and will be invested in the land to turn it into a viable project.
The 5-year agreement will be a phased project of several small commercial buildings that would clear the taxes owing.
The property will go into Hardy Developments' name, then it'll be transferred to the city, and it'll be a phased project and subdivided. And as each subdivided portion of the land is developed, the title will go back to Hardy Developments.
At the end of the 5 years, the city hopes not only to improve the appearance of the area, but also to recover some of its costs that have been accrued against the property.
I think it's just a positive to clean that area up, and it will give the city some opportunity to get some of the costs back for the services that were previously invested in, like frontage taxes for paving and those kinds of things.
Many nearby businesses were unable or unwilling to speak on camera, but they did tell NewsHour they are happy to see something is being done with the property. As for business owners like Rod Sellers, he agrees with the city that it will be an enhancement to the whole area.
I think it's great. I'm glad to see that I believe it's Hardy Developments have taken that property, and they're movers and shakers. And I know Mark's a hard worker and seems to be able to see opportunity where other people only see old grass and weeds. So I'm glad he's doing it, and I'm sure it'll be an enhancement to the whole south end of town.
Nicole Strangelet, NewsHour.
And that's all for this week in Retrospect.
Retrospect is brought to you by Webb's Machinery. Find New Holland products at Webb's Machinery, your dealer in Vermilion, Vegreville, Lamont, Wainwright, St. Paul, and Consort.